I'm Ivy Carter, Luke Ryan's fiancée. He saved my life when he was 18, so I've always indulged his every whim. When he fell for another girl and threatened to run away unless everyone accepted their relationship, I funded his reckless spending, cleaned up his messes, and even helped him woo her. Eventually, Luke came back to me, claiming he felt most at peace by my side. But on our wedding day, I never showed up. Luke waited until the moon rose over the empty chapel. His tailored suit wrinkled, the ring abandoned on crimson carpet as wilting bouquets scattered near pews. He stood beneath the cross with bloodshot eyes when I finally arrived. "You're late, Ivy." During my drive to a crucial bid meeting, Luke's call interrupted. I sent my location. "Pick me up, emergency." He hung up before I could respond. At a red light, I checked the map. His spot was remote, but a detour could still get me to the bidding on time. Without hesitation, I swerved away from the auction house. Summer sunlight glared off a black sports car parked roadside. I braked, spotting Luke through the windshield. He rolled down the window, waving past M. Taylor. Perfect timing. "I need your car." Lips pressed tight. I handed him the keys. "I've got business too." He frowned like he was doing me a favor. "Should have said so earlier. I'll have Ethan assist you." The engine roared as he drove off with M, leaving me in swirling dust. 20 minutes later, my call got answered with a curse. "Shit. I forgot. I'll send Ethan now. Take that Qianlong revolving vase you've always wanted from my collection." M's muffled question prompted Luke to launch into a story about acquiring the antique in London, his voice brimming with youthful pride. I hung up, scowling. Our family chauffeur was unavailable, and my entire social circle revolved around Luke's. The growl of a motorcycle broke the silence. I flagged down the rider, a leather-clad figure with a helmet obscuring everything except lean proportions. "Trouble?" His voice resonated through the visor. I gestured at Luke's abandoned car. "Ex-boyfriend's ride died after I cheated. Need a lift, name your price." He snorted. "This rust bucket yours?" "His." I screwed around. "He ditched me here." A helmet sailed toward me. "Get on." We screeched into the bidding venue just in time. The rider gave a helmet tilt salute before vanishing. My flawless presentation secured the deal. Night had fallen when I checked my phone. Dozens of notifications revealed Luke had taken M to a pop star's concert. Cameras caught them on the Jumbotron. Fans demanding a 7-second kiss. Instead of complying, Luke draped his jacket over M's face with a charming refusal. The clip went viral first for their picture-perfect chemistry, until someone recognized Luke Ryan, heir to the Ryan family, my fiancé. The online community, initially filled with righteous indignation and well wishes, had now turned to vicious curses. Emily became the universally despised homewrecker. Some overzealous individuals even stalked the couple after concerts, capturing photos of Luke swiping a $1 million credit card purchase for Emily. They seemed to dwell in their own Eden, oblivious to the chaos they'd created, unaware their romance had become societal sin. Dad's call came through again, bidding over? "Just finished. Come home immediately. The elder Ryans are here. Contact Luke now, our families need to talk." His calm tone barely concealed simmering anger. Everyone knew how devoted I'd been to Luke. Exhaling slowly, I hailed a cab home. Neon lights blurred with twilight through the window, stinging my eyes with inexplicable melancholy. I greeted Mr. and Mrs. Ryan politely before settling silently into the formal living room. For 30 minutes, business discussions flowed until Mr. Ryan's composure shattered. "That insolent boy, causing this disgrace then disappearing? He'll regret throwing away such a loyal girl." His tirade escalated until Luke materialized in the flower-filled courtyard. Even limned in golden garden lights, Luke remained breathtaking, that angelic face contrasting with untamed magnetism. A living paradox demanding attention. Kneel. Mr. Ryan roared. Luke dropped instantly onto marble flooring, knees cracking audibly. He acknowledged wrongdoing yet remained unrepentant. I love Emily. What Ivy and I have is sibling affection. I'll compensate both families. But leaving Emily isn't negotiable. I absorbed this calmly. When Mr. Ryan's cane struck Luke's back, I remembered our earthquake at 18, him digging through rubble with bleeding hands. Face ashen yet resolute. I'd mistaken that desperation for love. The metallic tang of blood snapped me back. Stepping forward, I intercepted the next blow. Uncle. Luke and I truly share no romance. I knew about Emily, even lent him my car for their concert date. Forcing us together brings no happiness. Why not make me your goddaughter instead? Family bonds remain without the pretense. The room stilled. Businessmen recognized the olive branch. As tensions dissolved, Luke mouthed thanks with a shrug. Accept the spin vase. Pick 2 antiques. Good sis. Losing a disloyal fiancé gained me a generous pseudo-brother and priceless artifacts. Though the collection stayed elusive, Luke took another beating post-meeting before defiantly choosing exile over abandoning Emily. Ethan's crew later consoled me at the club, "You're our only sister-in-law." Luke's just confused. Nobody disrespects you. Remember how he protected you? This is temporary insanity from having it too easy. I sipped bourbon. Amused. Emily seems sweet. Where's Luke? Time to claim my antiques. His treasure vault remained impregnable combination. Keys. Biometrics all exclusively his. The collection waited. As untouchable as its owner's stubborn heart. Even if I went to the Ryan family to talk to his parents, it wouldn't help. Ethan eagerly sent me Luke's address, urging me to go talk some sense into him. I glanced at the location, some rundown apartment complex near Stanford University. After parting ways with them, I drove through winding alleys and knocked on Luke's new door. He took forever to answer. Dark circles under his eyes and hair disheveled like some tragic hero. The musty apartment reeked of mildew. The dining table piled with takeout containers. The heir to the Ryan empire. Reduced to this over a girl. He leaned against the doorframe. Lips pressed thin. Clearly hating that I'd seen him like this. Why are you here? Antiques. Vases. Luke shot me an exasperated look. I can't pay yet. Wait. I pushed past him. Stop pretending with me. You chose this mess. Even banks charge interest. Where's mine? Maybe I'll take your sports car as collateral. Sound fair? Whatever. He shuffled toward the bedroom, visibly uncomfortable sharing air with his ex. Can't blame him. Here I stood polished to perfection while he, well, why not hustle for seed money? Day trade or something? I almost leaned against the grimy wall before catching myself. My accounts are frozen. Dad's made sure no one hires me. I tapped my chin. Bet he blocked your loans too. Tell you what, I'll open a bank account for you. $2 million up front. You'll know what interest rate I expect. Luke suddenly looked up at me. Dark emotions swirling in his intense gaze. IV. Aha. Business is business. I flashed my best boardroom smile. He chuckled bitterly. Take it all. Thanks. After clearing his trash, ordering him Shanghai Tower's premium dinner, and leaving $20,000 in cash, I click-clacked down the rotting stairs. When I asked why he stayed here, he said Emily dumped him and he's winning her back. Internet trolls had her crying daily, though he never asked. I knew my role. Tossing the garbage. I fired up my Mercedes. Created a verified account and posted, "Appreciate the concern. But Luke and I dissolved our engagement ages ago. No third parties involved." Wishing the couple happiness. Paid a PR firm to bury the hashtags. Then the plot twist, trolls accused me of intentionally letting the couple get crucified by silence. My team swiftly silenced them. But somehow new attacks emerged targeting me. The IP traced to Stanford's network. inaccessible for deeper digging. My gut said Emily's involvement. After hours of hesitation, I texted Luke the evidence. What's this supposed to mean? His accusatory tone made my fingers tremble. Just, interesting timing. I typed, fighting to sound reasonable. His reply gutted me. Em's not like that. When she got bullied, she just cried. Would never retaliate. Implying I was the spiteful ex making baseless claims. Funny how he forgot our recent broken engagement proved she was the other woman. I stared at my darkened screen. Our arranged marriage never involved I love yous, just decades of me prioritizing his needs until he announced finding real love. I swallowed my pain then. Too proud to beg. Now his account transferred $1,200,000. His call came instantly. IV. I need a favor. My pen froze mid-spin. Em's mom needs heart surgery. I sent money but she won't accept it, still hung up on our past engagement. Go explain things to her? The request left me hollow. Words trapped in my throat like shards of glass. I gave Luke money hoping he wouldn't have to slink around like a stray dog, enduring public humiliation before crawling back to his parents in disgrace. I knew Lucas Ryan had potential, but I never imagined he'd use my funds to bankroll Em without hesitation. What stunned me more was him demanding I smooth things over with Em regarding the money, especially after our Cold War following that viral scandal. When my silence stretched too long, he repeated my name with that infuriating calm. What's in it for me? I finally bit out. What do you want? Exhaustion roughened his voice. I've got nothing but myself left. Ivy. Why must you always reduce us to transactions? Because I can't refuse you. Yet I refuse to surrender my self-respect at your altar. My laugh sounded hollow even to me. Do you truly think Ivy Carter lacks anything you could offer? Luke? Forget it. No strings this time. I forced lightness into my tone before hanging up. After changing into the Paris runway piece airmailed yesterday and painting on my armor of icy lipstick, I drove to State University. I didn't bother stepping out or removing my sunglasses when Em approached. Rolling down the window, I drawled. Mom's heart condition won't wait. Be a dutiful daughter and take the money. No need to punish Luke. He adores you enough to beg me here. Shouldn't that prove your importance? Trust me. If I had half your luck with him, I'd never let him out of my sight. Em's eyes welled. I never meant to come between you two. I'll disappear. I swear. There's nothing between us to interfere with. I revved the engine. Do enjoy playing Cinderella. Driving away. My hands trembled. Why the designer costume? Why keep hiding behind dark lenses? Every word to Em had been self-flagellation. Luke would never grasp how desperately I loved him. Distraction made me clip a pedestrian. The guy tumbled dramatically, drawing gasps from bystanders. Are you hurt? I rushed out, only to freeze mid-apology. Fancy meeting like this. Miss Carter. Jazz grinned up from the pavement, massaging his ankle. New pickup line for heiresses? At the ER. I became his personal concierge, check-ins, payments, prescription runs, while the brat lounged like a sultan, all long limbs and amused smirks. Diagnosis, minor fracture. No hospitals, he declared. And since I'm new in town, thus, Jazz became my problem. Meals delivered thrice daily. Driver on standby. I tossed him the penthouse keys. Text any other needs. He surveyed the art-filled loft. Great taste in interiors. Shame about men. My phone lit with notifications. The campus confrontation had gone viral, carefully edited clips showing my sunglasses sneer in Em's tearful face. Comments roasted the Ice Queen bullying college sweetheart. 3 missed calls from Luke. His text seethed, was humiliating Em your idea of help? Always knew you looked down on her. Who's the real victim here? Jazz mused as I redialed. Voice dripping faux concern. Luke answered on the 4th ring. Well, you think I leaked that footage? My laugh cracked. Wouldn't be your first power play. How noble of you. Luke. The childhood nickname burned like acid. Next time. Fund your charity projects without my tainted money. Jazz Wolf whistled as I slammed my bag down. Walk away now. IV. He sing-songed. And you'll always wonder why he chose trembling violets over thunderstorms like you. He said men need to be tamed. Not coddled, especially scumbags like Lucas Ryan. I should have transferred the money back to teach him he's nothing without me. I ignored him. Though his tone was leisurely and expression neutral. I suspected his hatred for Lucas made him want to use me to mess with him. I'll send you Lucas' account details. Since you hate him, prove you can ruin him. I glanced at Jazz. Calling his bluff. If he had the skills to financially crush Lucas and make him lose the remaining $800,000, so be it. No reason I should swallow their insults. Jazz studied the banking info I'd sent. Smirking with fox-like amusement, those elongated eyes clearly mocking my woman's vindictiveness. Freshly graduated from MIT, he'd come to Shanghai to visit his sister at S University. The whole exchange program feud between Emily and his sister over some coveted slot had turned ugly when Lucas leveraged Ryan family connections to steal it. The Hughes clan didn't take slights lightly. Though his sister hadn't retaliated, Jazz being Jazz couldn't let it slide. Plus there was that auction house incident in London where Lucas outbid him for a vase, probably the same Qianlong revolving vase he'd promised me. I kept quiet about that. Jazz even hacked into S University's network, tracing the viral smear campaign's IP to Emily's dorm. Why help me? I asked. He looked up from his laptop. All feral grin and raised brow. What could I possibly lack? You eat my food. Use my Wi-Fi. Live in my apartment, I bit back sharper words. Consider it an IOU. Deal. His laugh was all streetwise swagger as I left. The construction site reeked of fresh concrete and sweat. There stood Lucas, former golden boy now hauling bricks in a hard hat. Shirtless and sunburned. Every chiseled muscle glistening. No shame. No regret. Still playing martyr for Emily's sake. Lucas. I leaned against my Mercedes. Sunglasses dangling. Workers nudged each other as he jogged over. Hope and humiliation warring on his face. His aborted reach toward my wrist said everything. Had he forgotten how he'd mocked me for Emily? I showed him the video evidence and IP logs. The scorching silence could have melted asphalt. Impossible. He thrust the phone back. Already running toward the subway. Let him chase ghosts. My ringing phone delivered Jazz's drawl, cast removal time. Be my crutch? I found him limping out of the clinic. Why not call your driver? You wrecked my Ferrari. Own it. He zipped his hoodie up, morphing into the world's most arrogant cripple. So? How'd Loverboy take the truth? Showed him everything. Jazz snorted, stalking off with impressive speed for someone in a walking boot. I assumed he'd returned to Boston's Hughes empire. Instead, he squatted in my penthouse. Lucas holed up at Ryan Manor for weeks. Between the vase, the totaled car, and the embezzled funds, I had to collect. Mrs. Ryan greeted me with iced mung bean soup and arm squeezes before I found her son reading Kafka in his gloom-clouded bedroom. The entitled princeling aura had returned. But his eyes, oh. Those eyes finally understood loss. Honestly. 8 years ago when he pulled me out of that earthquake wreckage looking like absolute hell, I swore to myself that Lucas Ryan's clothes would never even gather dust. So sure. He's allowed to love someone else, just not some trashy anchor dragging him down. You came? Luke didn't even glance up from his book. Forgotten your promise already? He slammed the volume shut with sudden irritation, jabbing 2 fingers at me before rummaging through his drawer. The Porsche keys clattered onto the marble counter between us. Without a word, he stalked toward the vault. I trailed behind as he carefully extracted the Qianlong revolving vase from its climate-controlled display. Anything else? He shoved the velvet-lined case at me. Cash would be tacky. Check your inbox later, there's a development project you might want 2 equity points in. I set the vase aside, feigning interest in his Tang Dynasty ceramics while eyeing the Southern Song Dynasty painting dominating the far wall. I want that. Absolutely not. You said pick anything. Anything but that. Then I don't want anything. My fingers brushed the car keys. Not the vase. Not the 911 GT3. Fine. Luke's jaw tightened as he unhooked the masterpiece. You win. The tension broke when I mentioned Emily Taylor. Didn't go well that night? You think I didn't believe you? His hand stayed steady while rolling the silk scroll. Ivy. I always believe you. I just didn't want to. Something twisted in my chest. We fought for hours. His laugh sounded hollow. She admitted it, said she felt threatened because I'm into you. Isn't that ridiculous? My throat closed. Ethan Murphy's drunken taunts from last month came flooding back, about being Luke's charity case. About how even childhood bonds couldn't fix. I watched Luke's precise movements under the museum-grade lighting. Maybe those bastards saw something I refused to. Jasper Hughes practically glowed when I delivered the painting. His lingering gaze during dinner made me joke. Don't go proposing over some artwork. The idiot actually grinned while signing the $28,000 check. Later. Whiskey heavy and leaning closer than ever in the parking lot. He slurred. Rescuing damsels Warren's marriage proposals. You know. I dropped him off reeking of regret. Things shifted after that night at the Ryan estate. Mrs. Ryan kept accidentally setting places for me. Luke started texting about gallery openings again. We became that golden couple everyone expected, effortlessly synchronized at charity galas. Our inside jokes making Ethan groan during poker nights. Drink up. Lovebirds. Ethan pushed 2 martinis across the private lounge table when we arrived late. Luke snatched my glass, downing it in one go. My fault we're late. Still protecting your girl. Huh? Ethan's smirk could curdle milk. Luke's knee brushed mine under the table. I didn't pull away. The Lamborghini he'd shipped from Medina idled outside later. Its engine purring like the night felt, dangerous and inevitable. We both knew the rules. We both kept playing. Luke simply tilted his chin upward with a smirk, wordlessly telling him to get lost without argument. We sat side by side. His cold fingers brushing against mine, just that slight contact made my pulse race. My fingertips twitched involuntarily. The private room door swung open. A girl entered with lowered head, carrying liquor. In that instant, Luke seized my hand with startling force. I glanced at our intertwined fingers before studying the server's face, offering a smile devoid of warmth. Ethan and others kept chanting drinking games, none recognizing M. Among Luke's crew, I alone knew her, hence why Ethan's crowd considered Luke unserious. Yet why the death grip on my hand for this charade if he didn't care? M knelt beside Dill pouring his drink. Notorious playboy Dill naturally tapped her knuckles, drawling, "Let's exchange numbers. I'll buy whatever you push." M recoiled like startled prey, accidentally slapping Dill's face. "Fucking psycho!" Dill roared, kicking the couch upright. Towering with bad boy charm, his looming presence reduced M to tears. The silent Luke finally released me, pulling M into protective embrace. "Watch your mouth." "You shitting me, Luke?" Dill barked incredulous laughter, shooting me a pointed look. "Ditching your girl here for some bar skank?" "I'm not," M began. Luke's fist collided with Dill's jaw before the slur finished. They became tangled beasts, Ethan's crew swarming to separate them. Amidst chaos, M got shoved against a table corner, clutching her bleeding temple. "Stop, Luke," her pleas drowned in the melee. I studied her, puzzling over my shortcomings, pouring Luke's fetched hot water over our earlier handhold. I scrubbed methodically before speaking. "Luke." He froze mid-swing, eating Dill's unchecked punch. The room stilled to ragged breathing. Pointing at M, I said, "She needs the ER." Luke surged upright. "What about you?" Unscathed. My smile stayed placid. "Go." Nodding, he half-carried M out. The trashed private room lay silent, shattered glass swimming in liquor lakes. Another round? I grabbed my purse. Dill wiped bloodied lips. "Hell yes. You're staying. Ice Queen." I summoned servers for a fresh private room. Everyone witnessed Luke choosing M yet dared not comment. Only Ethan muttered, "That blind bastard." Earning my toast. Laughter resurged with each clinking glass. By closing time, Dill called his designated driver. Sliding into his four-seater, I felt numb. "Which address?" "Either." Dill chuckled. "Nearest it is." The engine purred agreement. Supported by Dill, I made my way upstairs. He knocked on the door, which soon opened to reveal a handsome guy with a towel draped over his head and bathrobe slightly parted. Still dazed, I blinked. "He's this drunk?" Jazz unceremoniously yanked me from Dill's grip. Brows furrowed. Dill waved goodbye with an easy smile. Seemingly unfazed by the presence of a stranger in my home, Jazz half-carried me to the couch, caging me between his arms as he leaned down. "Why so much?" His voice rasped. They kept pushing drinks. I mumbled, avoiding his gaze, vaguely recalling Dill being the instigator. I flinched when his fingers pinched my cheek. Indignation rose. How dare this houseguest bully me? His laughter vibrated through me, eyes crinkling with amusement. Adorable when tipsy, suddenly self-conscious. He turned away with pink-tipped ears. "I'll draw your bath. Rest." He fled to the bathroom, water cascading noisily. Clanging pots soon echoed from the kitchen. Curiosity propelled me upright, but my head swam violently. I crashed to the floor with a thud. Jazz came running, panic-stricken. "What happened?" Tears pricked my eyes as I clutched his calf, struggling to rise. He intercepted my wandering hands, sweeping me into his arms with strained breath. Our gazes locked, something dark swirling in his obsidian eyes. "What were you doing?" My voice trembled. "Making congee and hangover remedy." He adjusted his grip, throat working. "Need help to the bath?" The shower steam curled around us as he deposited me on a chaise. Bubble bath fizzled in the filled tub. He arranged towels methodically, avoiding eye contact. "Call if you need anything." The doorframe caught his shoulder during escape, earning a glare that inexplicably charmed me. Post-soak clarity found Jazz curled on the sofa gaming. The dining table held warm porridge, herbal tea, and pickled vegetables. Comfort spread through me with each nourishing bite. Bittersweet emotion tightening my throat. Approaching him later, I faltered under his sudden intensity. "You bruised your knees." He produced ointment, palms scorching as he massaged my legs. Golden light played across his features, gilded lashes brushing cheekbones, shadows pulling at his Adam's apple. His fingers lingered, kindling dangerous heat. "Done." The words emerged ragged. I jerked away, but he caught my wrist. Our breaths tangled as he leaned in, smile dangerous. When I turned my face, he froze. The suspended moment shattered as he withdrew abruptly. "Sorry." I shook my head, pulse racing. He released me with forced nonchalance, the air still crackling between us like live wire. He reached out, grabbed the water glass, and took a sip. He looked perfectly fine. Just long lashes lowered, knuckles whitened, veins faintly visible along his forearm. I didn't look at him again, muttering goodnight as I turned to leave. His fingers closed around my wrist. Looking down, I saw him press his tongue against his cheek, struggling before forcing out the words, "No impulse." "Crazy about you." "Sorry." I couldn't help laughing. 26 years. First time hearing someone say they liked me. Turns out it feels good. Got it. He released my hand. Only when I entered my room did I hear his delayed, frustrated mutter, "What does got it even mean?" Morning found Jazz setting breakfast on the table just as the doorbell rang. Opening it revealed Luke standing there. "Why are you here?" "Last night I didn't get to." Luke's gaze drifted past me, colliding with Jazz's. The latter looked like he hadn't slept. Eyes bloodshot. It took several heartbeats before Luke managed a "horse you stayed over last night?" "Depends how you look at it." Before I could respond, Jazz wiped his hands with exaggerated nonchalance. "Problem?" Luke exploded through the doorway like lit dynamite. His eyes raked the living room, Jazz's jacket slung over the armchair, gym bag by the TV console, until landing on the painting I'd gifted Jazz. "You gave him this too?" Luke's chin lifted in fragile defiance, voice trembling. I nodded. "Commissioned it for him. He said he loved it." Jazz's grin widened into something annoyingly triumphant yet dazzling. Luke's fists clenched, veins bulging as he choked out, "You love him?" Silence swallowed the room. My silence. Jazz's silence. Luke broke first with bitter laughter. "Even without love, you treat him this well." The hypocrisy stung. My treatment of Luke had been far more indulgent. He left with that parting shot, silhouette dissolving into the midday crowd outside. Jazz closed the door, nudging me toward breakfast like nothing happened. Only the soft vulnerability in his eyes betrayed him, oddly dissonant against his bad boy looks. I couldn't meet his gaze. After work, 2 vehicles idled outside my office, Jazz's obnoxiously flashy motorcycle and Luke's Lamborghini in my favorite sky blue. Luke emerged upon seeing me, locking eyes with Jazz. I hadn't expected him back so soon. Growth, perhaps. Or acceptance that whatever Jazz and I were didn't require his theatrics. Dinner. Luke ignored Jazz, stepping forward. "Is Em all right?" I referenced his abrupt departure days prior. His face tightened. "We're nothing." I chuckled. "Why explain? Brothers don't report to sisters about girlfriends." "I'm grabbing food with a friend." "Bye." Snatching the helmet from Jazz, I mounted the bike. In the rearview mirror, Luke remained statue still amidst the bustling noon crowd, isolated, suffocating. "Stop looking." Jazz's muffled voice came through the helmet. "You're not even driving. Why show up? Let's grab dinner." Good thing I didn't wear a dress today. He stayed silent until braking at a traffic light, then abruptly said, "If you'd worn one, would you have gotten in his car?" "Absolutely. I'll buy one right now." Jasper Jazz Hughes was genuinely interesting. And we clicked. Too bad he had the Hughes family empire in B City to inherit, while I was rooted in S City. Long distance never works. I never figured out when he started liking me. But regardless, I lacked the guts. Thankfully he took hints well. After that night, things stayed normal between us except him hanging around more. He even partnered on a small project with me. Whether from overwork or overplay, I forgot my own birthday until a week prior. Luke Ryan showed up at my place. "Your assistant told me you forgot." "I've got most of it handled." My eyeliner brush paused as I glanced at his reflection leaning against the doorway. "Thanks." He forwarded digital invites for me to distribute. When I casually asked about his gift, instead of his usual eager bragging, he smirked. "You'll see it at the party. Guaranteed to love it." Curiosity consumed me. Yet on my birthday, Luke never appeared. The banquet hall screen played his video montage, my life from childhood onward, gradually shifting from solo shots to frames where he'd photobombed every milestone. At the emotional crescendo, any idiot would have expected him to make a speech, even just for his honorary little sister. Dozens of unanswered calls later, I stood coldly listening to the crowd's whispers. "What a spectacular gift." Jazz pushed through the murmurs to my side. "Want me to?" "Don't." I gripped his wrist, forcing a smile. The seasoned host quickly stabilized the awkward opener. My fingers stayed locked around Jazz's arm as he studied me. Unreadable. Maybe my pallor betrayed me. Maybe I'd never admit how pathetically I'd hoped. Again and again. For Luke too. Nausea hit. Blood roared in my ears. Limbs freezing as oxygen thinned. Jazz steered me to a private lounge. The water he offered trembled off the table, shattering. When I reached for glass shards, crimson bloomed across my palm, but tears fell first. His hand settled on my crown as I leaned into the touch. Hurts. I know. Post-crying exhaustion left me limp as Jazz bandaged my hand. Outside, we crossed paths with Dylan Dill Collins. Sorry I'm late, hospital for gastritis. His smirk sharpened. Saw Luke there with that bar girl from last time. Rest up. I dismissed. Dylan loathed Luke. But he wasn't a liar. Absurd yet plausible, same old pattern. After farewells, Jazz drove me home. Streetlights streaked across his profile. 3 blocks from my apartment. He pulled over abruptly. Want to disappear? The engine idled as night pooled between us. Yes. We blew past my neighborhood toward the highway. Wind whipped through open windows as speedometer numbers climbed. Jazz's laughter tangled with the roar of acceleration, a giddy, reckless sound. My grip tightened on the door handle. Heartbeat syncing with the RPM gauge. City lights dissolved into stardusted darkness. Somewhere past midnight, we parked at a deserted overlook. He produced 2 champagne flutes from the trunk, pouring supermarket sparkling wine. To surviving. The plastic cups clinked. We got tipsy on $8 bubbly, inventing backstories for distant farmhouse lights until dawn streaked the horizon. When he dropped me off smelling of dew and gasoline, I realized I'd never asked where he'd gotten the crystal glasses. The answer arrived next morning, a paparazzi shot of Jazz borrowing them from a hotel rooftop bar during our escape. His text pinged as the scandal trended, worth it? My laughter startled nearby colleagues. Across the city, Hughes Group's PR team probably needed triple espressos. I replied with a champagne emoji. Luke's belated gift arrived noon, a vintage jukebox installed in my office, preloaded with every song from our teenage mixtapes. The attached card read Happy 25th. I let it blast power ballads all afternoon. 2 could play this game. The drive back was quiet between us. When the car stopped outside my house, that sky blue color, Jazz got out to walk me to the door. He gestured at the vehicle. Your favorite shade. I could get one too. I pressed my lips together, unsure how to respond. You don't have any expectations left for him now, right? I glanced at the band-aid on my hand. It'll heal eventually. His smile bloomed under the moonlight. Disarmingly handsome. Good answer. Later. Freshly showered and ready for bed. My phone lit up with Luke's name. I silenced it, remembering all my unanswered calls to him earlier. The pillow swallowed me whole. Dawn found me awake at 6. Through the curtains, I glimpsed a cerulean silhouette in the driveway. My breath hitched, thinking it might be Jazz, then settled when I recognized Luke's car. I took my time with breakfast, deliberately ignoring the vehicle as I left. He sprang from the driver's seat like a jack-in-the-box, shadows bruising his eyes. I'm sorry. I sidestepped his reaching hand. Just embarrassed, really. Buy me something nice as apology and we're square. The morning chill seeped into my bones. When Luke finally spoke, his voice cracked. Why do you always do this? I studied his bloodshot eyes, the exhaustion etching his face. Since childhood, this pattern never changed. Should I throw tantrums instead? Let you keep hurting me because I won't debase myself screaming? His shock mirrored in widening eyes. You loved me? Past tense. Shouldering past him, I gunned the engine. His shrinking reflection in the rearview stirred nothing. He kept trying to meet after that. Today I relented, partly to end the nuisance, partly from sheer apathy. My indifference spoke louder than rage. And Luke knew it. He entered my office jittery. IV. I glanced up from paperwork. Spit it out. Luke. When M threatened suicide to make me come. I set down my pen, chin propped on hand. And? After thinking, I realized I love you. Seeing you with Jazz, his throat worked. All these years. I couldn't stand anyone near you but thought you didn't care. I was scared to ruin what we had. Enough. I cut through his soliloquy. You took my affection for granted since saving me. How much to repay that debt? His lips whitened. IV. Don't. I tossed him tissues and grabbed my purse. No ache. No schadenfreude, just hollow calm. Later. Driving Jazz to the airport before his father's health recall. He suddenly abandoned his luggage. His backward snap caught me mid-wave. The embrace came warm through his hoodie. Breath tickling my ear. Don't they say you should marry your rescuer? My pulse stuttered. What? 8 years ago. During that earthquake. I shouldn't have ended up buried under those massive rocks. As I fled for my life, I spotted a young man bleeding profusely from falling debris. His features barely recognizable. Basic human decency made me turn back and drag his limp body to safety. The aftershock hit moments after I pulled him out, trapping me instead. That's how Luke dug through rubble to save me. Jazz later confessed he'd been that injured boy. When he awoke 3 days after being rescued, I'd already disappeared. Normally, he'd never have given me that ride to the bidding conference. His car wasn't for casual passengers. But my silhouette in the distance triggered some primal recognition. That same gut feeling from 8 years prior. His subsequent background check confirmed it. There's nothing I can give you that you don't already have. He'd said. But for saving my life, perhaps I could offer myself. I'd assumed he meant me that night. Turned out he meant himself. He left. Promised to return soon. The plane tore through cloud cover, dissolving our chance encounter into memory. Feverish and alone, I dragged myself to the hospital for midnight for fluids. Half dozing in the vinyl chair, I sensed someone looming. M stood before me, pallid and disheveled. Her clothes stained with something foul. Need something? Ivy? You think you're so special. Her voice cracked. You treat Luke like dirt and he still ignores you. Go see a doctor. M. I closed my eyes. My calm demeanor somehow enraged her further. You're just lucky. I work 10 times harder. How dare you and Luke toy with me while my mother's. Enough. My icy glare stopped her mid-rant. You think I don't work hard? 6 hours of sleep max since I was 12. Got into T.U. on merit before switching to international tracks. As for looking down on you? I snorted. I don't think about you at all. She trembled, hand darting toward my foreline. My foot connected with her shin before she could tug it. As she crumpled theatrically, I yawned. Security cameras exist. Sweetheart. The waterworks stopped instantly. M slunk away after shooting me a venomous look. My phone buzzed with Jazz's daily check-in. Where are you? ER. Which one? What's wrong? I sent the pin drop. Bitter amusement rising. What did it matter? He was halfway across the country. Yet the sterile hospital air suddenly felt heavier, maybe from fever. Maybe residual annoyance. Maybe the hollow ache beneath my ribs. The nurse removed my four as dawn tinged the sky. I descended to the deserted parking garage. Footsteps echoing too loudly. Another set of footsteps joined mine. I ran. Meat paw hands grabbed my hair, slamming me onto cold concrete. My heel smashed upward into soft flesh. Before my attacker could recover, a familiar dress shoe sent him sprawling. Jazz stood panting. Ty Askew. Eyes wild. Miss me? Jasper Hughes didn't look at me as he spoke. His tone casual, like he was discussing the weather. The fluorescent lights of the underground parking garage cast a pale glow, somehow accentuating the jade-like perfection of his profile until my throat went dry and my pulse raced. He'd just finished dislocating the loan shark's arm. His designer shoe grinding into the man's fleshy face as he extracted the truth behind my ambush. The absurdity of it all left me momentarily speechless. Emily had taken nude loans to feed her vanity, then dragged Ivy into it by exploiting her mother's illness as collateral. When Ivy stopped responding after their last blowout fight, Emily had turned to this particular creep. The loan shark's special preferences left Emily needing ER treatment, which was where she'd spotted me during her midnight pharmacy run. She'd sold me out as another debt-ridden target, banking on my designer clothes and solo hospital visit to seal the deal. The creep had bought it hook, line, and sinker, sending Emily away before making his move. I crouched beside the whimpering man, slapping him twice with cold precision. "Send me Emily's photos. Now." When he hesitated, Jasper increased pressure on his twisted arm until frantic nodding ensued. We walked the sniveling mess across the street to the police station, Jasper making a call to ensure extended accommodations for our new friend. The night wind whipped at my hair as we exited. Without ceremony, Jasper draped his jacket over my shoulders. I didn't protest. Not after watching him materialize like some avenging angel in that sterile hallway. "Don't you have a flight?" "Rescheduled." He looked away, the streetlights catching the tension in his jaw. "Father can wait." Emily's downfall came swiftly. During morning lecture hours, Jasper flooded State University's intranet with her compromising photos. We paid for trending hashtags, #StateU student loans, #GamerXSX, then leaked geotagged raw footage to gossip blogs. The university expelled her by noon. But I wasn't done. Between the creep's testimony and $120,000 paper trail, Emily faced felony fraud and conspiracy charges. Or should have, until Lucas intervened. He stormed into my office unannounced, palms slamming my desk. Was ruining her life necessary? Ivy? Emily only made that sex tape because she thought I wanted you. The boy who'd pulled me from floodwaters 8 years ago dissolved before my eyes, replaced by this stranger. When had my golden-hearted protector become this willfully blind fool? I traced a finger over case files. "She took you from me. I'm right here." "No." My smile stayed sweet as communion wine. "Marry me, Luke. Do that, and I'll drop the charges." His recoil tasted like victory. Let him call me venomous. Let them all whisper about Carter's ruthless heiress. The girl who waited patiently for her childhood prince had drowned in last month's downpour. What emerged from those storm drains knew better than to hope, and far more satisfying ways to settle debts. I don't want to be tormented by Lucas Ryan for the rest of my life. Luke's expression shifted through 1,000 emotions before settling on delight. We decided to hold the wedding before officially registering our marriage. Throughout the planning, I used work obligations as an excuse to dump all responsibilities on Luke. He'd grumble occasionally but still poured his heart into every detail, smiling at me with that same tender look he'd worn years ago when he adored me. Now, every time he leaned closer, my skin crawled. After several evasions, Luke finally noticed. "Ivy," he asked hoarsely, "are you having second thoughts?" I stared at his red-rimmed eyes and lied through a smile. "Don't be ridiculous. I'm just exhausted." Before he could press further, my phone rang. Jasper Hughes. I let it go to voicemail. It rang again. And again. Finally, I answered in front of Luke. "You're getting married?" Jazz's voice scraped raw, like he hadn't slept in weeks. "Yes." After a weighted pause came his broken whisper, "No regrets?" "None." This time, he hung up without ceremony. I glanced at Luke's watchful gaze, flashed a tight smile, and headed to a meeting with documents in hand. The moment I left, I redialed Jazz frantically. No answer. Staring at my darkened screen, I chuckled bitterly and let it go. On the wedding day, after receiving guests in my gown, I stripped off the veil and uploaded every damning truth about Emily Taylor onto the lounge computer, leaving it wide open for the world to see. Let Luke drown in regret and humiliation, forced to confess his blindness and failures before God and everyone. Just as I'd endured. I climbed out the window, sped to the airport. Restlessness had gnawed at me since Jazz's call. Now, flooring the gas toward my flight to City B. I needed answers. When I sprinted through the terminal, fate crashed into me, literally. Jazz, breathless and wild-eyed, skidded to a halt. "What are you doing here?" Thought I'd crash a wedding. He grinned. All reckless youth. And my heart stuttered. This reckless, infuriating man was who I wanted. Jazz didn't hesitate, yanking me into a hug that smelled like gasoline and desperation. "You'll be the death of me." We rode his motorcycle until sunset. Ate greasy burgers under flickering streetlights. His thumb brushed sauce from my lip. Where to now? The venue. I want to watch him unravel. Jazz's hand froze on my cheek. I gripped his wrist. Not for him. I need to see his face when he realizes every noble choice he made was poison. "Vicious little thing." He smirked, tousling my hair. We arrived to darkened halls and wilted flowers. Luke sat slumped on the altar steps, head snapping up when our clasped hands entered his periphery. "You're late, Ivy. Do you regret it?" "Luke? I'm sorry." He reached for me, trembling, then recoiled. "You disgust me," I said softly. "And you're blind." Luke lowered his head, a teardrop splashing onto the crimson carpet. There seemed nothing left to say. Let it end here. I still had countless messes to clean up. If I didn't allow myself this moment of indulgence, my inner demons would torment me anyway. I couldn't help wondering, where did I fall short? Why had my judgment failed me? Jazz tugged my hand. "Let's go then." I nodded, letting him lead me away. Behind us, Luke's tentative, broken voice called Ivy. My steps didn't falter. Nor did I turn. His murmured plea of "I can change. Don't choose someone else" dissolved into the night wind, vanishing without trace. The wedding fallout hit hard. My father made me kneel in penance for half a day, though his expression suggested secret approval. Carter heirs should have spine. With the Ryan family withdrawing protection from M, legal proceedings accelerated unimpeded. The Taylors, aware of their son's disgraceful conduct, could only retaliate by snatching 2 projects from me. When I prepared countermeasures, Luke returned the pre-wedding art collection I'd tried giving back. Calculating the gains, I heeded father's advice to show mercy where possible. Jazz stayed until everything settled before rushing back to B City. "I'll find you soon," he promised. Yet 2 weeks passed without word. His texts grew perfunctory, calls unanswered. Annoyed but determined not to overthink, I flew to B City during downtime. I found him besieged in his study by vulture-like relatives. His father's impending death had every Hughes elder clamoring for advantage. My knock nearly earned curses until I announced Ivy Carter, CEO of Carter Technologies, here to visit Mr. Hughes and discuss partnerships. The room fell silent. Jazz looked wrecked. The astronomy prodigy turned reluctant CEO struggled with stockholder disputes and project allocations. We worked through the corporate quagmire together. Before catching breath, the Hughes patriarch passed. The funeral unfolded under leaden skies. Jazz stood marble still throughout, never speaking or shedding tears. During burial under torrential rain, his trembling silhouette beneath the black umbrella finally cracked. I thought he'd heal, but he retreated into workaholic silence, barely acknowledging me. With Carter Technologies demanding my presence, I couldn't linger. After resolving final affairs, I left without clarity. Were we over? Months later outside a restaurant, Familiar motorcycle exhaust rumbled. Their jazz leaned against chrome. Cigarette dangling. My eyes burned with unwelcome emotion. Ignoring him, I marched toward my car. He stumbled after, taking a door swing to the ribs. "What are you doing?" "Sorry." It wasn't his fault. Motherless since childhood. Raised by the father now gone, his withdrawal had been trauma, not rejection. Yet the hurt lingered. "I'm relocating headquarters to S-City," he blurted. "Almost done. I'll wait, however long you need." We stood suspended between downpour and dawn. It must have been some special occasion. Fireworks suddenly bloomed behind us, amidst the kaleidoscope of colors painting the sky. I stood on my tiptoes and kissed him. When two people are trying so hard to close the distance between them, isn't that devotion enough to forgive anything?